Hey everybody, it's Will. Today is Saturday, August 30th, 2014. I just watched a video called Will Work for Free by MaverickMedia. That's the guy's name. It's a pretty good documentary. It's about 2 hours and 6 minutes. And the producer comes from a Zeitgeist perspective. Now there's a little prerequisites here because I don't want to explain the whole Zeitgeist movement. It's basically a grassroots movement. Everything in the society is provided by our resources. That's why it's called a resource-based economy. And everyone in that society gets a basic standard of living, whether that be clothes, shelter, food, transportation, water. It's all provided at a basic level because we're at that point in society where we can do that. The year is 2014. We have the technology. No one has to wonder where their next meal is coming from, and nobody has to fight over it. That's the narrative. Whether you agree with it or not, I personally do not agree with that narrative, but that's where it's coming from. I hope I characterized it correctly for you. I don't think it's possible, but that's not why I'm making that video. The video I'm making today is talking strictly about the documentary. The documentary, again, I Will Work for Free. It's about 2 hours. MaverickMedia is the guy's name. Check it out. He goes through the motions and describes how basically every industry we currently can think of today, and that where we get our paychecks today will be completely automated. Imagine, go to Walmart and there's no workers. Self-checkout. There might be one guy that you can hunt down. Imagine you might not even have to go to Walmart. You want a wrench. There's no Ace Hardware. You just print it off on your 3D printer, and you fix your oven that was provided by the resource-based economy. You fix that right on the spot. And again, everything's standardized in this society. So you print off the wrench, you know exactly what tool you need, you know exactly what part you might need to print off, and you fix that oven right there. And now you don't go hungry because you get your grains provided by the central resource-based authority. Sounds a little socialistic to me. Apparently I'm missing something. That's not what it's about. Now, I come from another perspective, and I'll explain that perspective really quickly. Why is automation good? Automation is good because it allows humans to do other things. Before I worked at, I could have worked at Walmart, I could have worked at McDonald's, that entry-level position, I could have been flipping burgers. But now there's a robot who flips that for me. And we still get the burger. We still get our same level of production, but humans might do other things. Before, I could have worked on a farm, picking corn, detasseling, planting things, whatever. Now you go to a farm, you just see an automated tractor driving itself through satellite that provides it where to put the fertilizer, where to spray the chemicals. Or you might not even be. It might not even be a farm. It might just be indoors. It's just a skyscraper full of hydroponic agricultural systems. That's what the video is describing. It's also describing a world where we all have 3D printers in our houses on a desktop 3D printer, and we can print out a wrench. We can print out pizza cutters. We can print out pens on a basic level, and no one has to worry about that. But that's, I don't think that's a threat to our current system. Even if that were to happen, I do think it probably will happen, that automation will take over a lot of our current jobs. Current is a key word there. Future jobs, they will be automated, but again, we would have moved on to something different. This guy currently disputes that. He thinks that automation is moving so fast now that the 200 years of evidence before where we all worked on farms, and the 200 years of automation, and we still survive, we still have jobs today, can be discounted because automation's moving even faster today. It's accelerating, and that acceleration is accelerating, and it's kind of like the singularity from Ray Kurzweil. We can't keep up with that automation, and before we know it, machines are going to be more intelligent than humans, and there will basically be no need for human labor. What would that society look like? Would we all be artists and painters, and would we all be shooting hoops against each other, or, you know, playing chess or checkers and enjoying ourselves? Probably. If that's what that society describes, yes, that would happen, because we no longer have to spend our time on the fields. But where would our money come from? That's what the central premise of the video is. Now, there is a cycle in our current society that the video describes, and that's basically, I get paid. Again, we'll use Walmart as an example. I get paid from Walmart, stocking the shelves. Let's say the minimum wage, $7.25 an hour. Now, I take my monthly paycheck of whatever, $300, $400, and I spend that at basically wherever I want. I could go to Dunkin' Donuts, I could go to Burger King, I could go back to Walmart, I could go to Target, I could go to a local grocery store, I could go spend it on an education, I can do whatever I want. And as a result, those businesses get money, and they provide more paychecks, and those paychecks are spent, and those paychecks are converted into produce, and those when people buy that with their paychecks, it allows businesses to create more goods. Now, obviously, that's a pretty bad explanation of this of the cycle of labor, but who cares? I think we all get it. It's elementary. But does automation throw a wrench in that? I don't think so. I don't think so. This guy thinks it does, because, you know, we won't have paychecks anymore because we won't be working. First off, whether you accept the 200 years of automation before us, that allowed us to not work on farms anymore, that allowed us to do other things like build refrigerators and you know, build more advanced machinery, and enjoy some leisure time. It allowed us to get into the air conditioning, an office job or whatever. Whether you agree with that or not, that human labor will be just reallocated or redistributed, as he called it, to another industry. Let's just assume that, for argument's sake, that this guy's right, that there will be a singularity, and humans will be obsolete. Our labor is pointless. Machines can do it 1,000 times better, 1,000 times faster. They can repair themselves and reproduce themselves, whatever. But that's a little, disingenuous, because look at it. We all have 3D printers in our house. What does that mean? We're all producing goods. I can produce a wrench. My neighbor might produce a pizza cutter. That's where our paychecks come from. Remember, money is just a unit of exchange. Money is a measure of how much value we provided and how much we produced. Whether we inherited that money, it's irrelevant. Someone had to produce it to get the money. But at the end of the day, money is just a unit of exchange. Whether it's gold, silver, dollars, bitcoins, you know, litecoins, whatever it is. Money is just a unit of exchange. Money will always exist as long as there's different products and different people with different needs and different desires and different abilities. Money will always exist. Why is that? Okay, we all have 3D printers. I decide to print 50 of these really nice pens. Right? They're thick, they hold a lot of ink, they're durable. You know, I could throw them on the ground, they'd still probably work. I could leave them out in my car in a freezing cold. They'd still probably work if I let them, you know, warm up a little. However, my neighbor produces 100 pens of just ballpoint standardized pens that are pretty rudimentary and basic, but they get the job done. Now I have 50 of these nice pens. He's got 100 of pens that are, less quality. Meanwhile, my neighbor across the street, he's making pizza cutters with his 3D printer. And he wakes up in the morning, cues it to print, 50 pizza cutters throughout the day. He loads up the printer, and he goes and does whatever he wants. He creates garage band, and him and his friends, produce music and art and whatever he wants. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because our economy will still exist. We're just allowed to be free. So, why will money still exist, and why will paychecks still exist? Because again, money is just a measure of how much you produced. If I spent all day producing these pens, and I can barter with them, and money is just a way to make barter more efficient. That's pretty obvious. It's a unit of exchange. So my paycheck is based on how many of these I can produce, or how many electronic pieces I can produce, how many widgets I can produce with my 3D printer. Now this is comparative advantage. Not everybody should produce the same thing. Not everybody will produce the same thing. Whatever you're best at producing, whatever gives you the lowest opportunity cost to produce, that's what you should produce, and trade for the other things. That's an economy. That is our current system. It's our same exact system, except machines do most of the work we do now. We'd still have different goods, we'd still have different desires, we're still different people, and that allows for currency to be circulated, because we have to barter somehow. It's the most efficient way. Now, whether you accept the Zeitgeist movement as a minimum standard to live off of, that's kind of like socialism to me, but again, maybe I'm missing something, but our current system would still exist. Even if none of us have jobs, we'd still have products that we need to barter. And where we get those products, it's pretty much immaterial. It's just, if we choose to print them off online, that's what we get. That's our production for the day. Now, this myth of automation, I mean, it's been circulating around, and I don't think it's true. I mean, I think I heard Stefan Molyneux say that we could all be employed tomorrow if we just outlawed farm machinery. What that says is automation's a good thing. We don't have to be stuck on a farm. This is what I'm trying to get across to you. Automation is good. I don't know why there was negative music going about this when we were talking about automation in this documentary. It was a negative minor tone, which indicates sadness or fear or scariness. That's not what automation should be celebrated. It's good. It's the role of our economy to automate and allow us to be free, and we don't have to work, but we can enjoy the same standard of living. That's what it's about. And whether we want a higher standard of living after that, well, then we might have to work. But we could coast with our current automation, and we'd all have different products, like I was saying, and we'd have to barter some way, and that's where currency comes into play. And everyone has a different mind, and everyone has a different brain, and different circumstance, and that's where comparative advantage comes into play, because everybody's different and everyone can produce differently. And as a result, we will have an economy no matter what. You can't get around the law of supply and demand. You can't get around having a unit of exchange. This guy, MaverickMedia, is trying to say otherwise, and that automation will make it impossible for us to get, our monthly paycheck. But remember, a paycheck is just how much we produce. Whether it's done with a 3D printer or a robot, it makes no difference. That's what I'm trying to get across. And if none of us have jobs, that doesn't make any sense, because then that's a robot doing it. Whether we have the job or the robot has the job, again, it's pretty much immaterial. That's what I'm trying to get across. we'll still have a society where there's still cycles, and there's still economies, and there's still currency, and there's still trade, but we'll all just be better off, and that's the result of automation. So I think automation is a myth anyways, and that that we'll all be unemployed. So that's a myth, but only time will tell. And I'd like to thank you for checking out this video. I tried to keep it under 15 minutes. Sorry for the scrambled thoughts. I hope I got my point across, and that feel free to subscribe and leave your comments below. Thank you.